The latest story that my dad told me about my grandpa on the way to Walmart was about the time that he was making homebrew beer, right? So he's making homebrew beer, and he had come up with a new recipe where he put a tablespoon of sugar or something in it to give it a little more flavor, or to make it stronger. He said it'd make it stronger. And I guess he had some sort of containers inside the closet there, and so he goes out of town for a week, and my dad said they're sitting around, and all of a sudden, pow! They hear these booms like pow, right? So it had fermented and expanded inside of the container, and then they started blowing up, I guess, because he added the sugar, and he'd never done that before. And my grandma was trying to figure out, where's that coming from? She thought somebody was in the attic trying to rob them, right? So she called the police. Of course, now this is still considered taboo right after what is that? What is it called? Prohibition. Sorry, had a brain fart there. Oh, by the way, this technology that hacked my mind is literally brainwashing out words now. Like I'm having trouble with my vocabulary. So the lawsuit's getting even deeper. I have all the evidence to prove all of this. In my recent emails, their FISA court's not looking good for you. Just coming in on the radio there. So your electromagnetic technology that's driven by satellites that comes into people's minds, especially Trump supporters, general portray us to brainwash people. Well, it's just destroying my vocabulary, by the way. I used to have a much bigger vocabulary. And it's like, there's just words. Earlier, I couldn't even think of Boyd Bushman's name whenever I was trying to pull up a picture of Boyd Bushman and E.T. On Google. Yeah, I couldn't even think of Boyd Bushman's names. Now, how many times have I used Boyd Bushman's name for that to just mysteriously vanish from my fucking mind all of a sudden, just out of the blue? Of course, Pinky and the Brains explained all of that and further explained it in my recent emails there. So why would you want to brainwash out Boyd Bushman and E.T.? That's another good question there, which is exactly what you're doing, by the way. You're trying to that's why I take such good notes. So when something crosses my mind, I put it in a time-stamped email, and then later on I go back, or if I can't remember what it was that I was trying to think of just then, well, I go back and figure it out, right? Of course, Google's pretty handy for all of that. But anyway, so my grandma calls the cops, and they show up and find out that it was my grandpa's homebrew in his closet that was blowing up, right? So there's probably some sort of significance to that story. It's kind of like maybe calling the cops on yourself for brewing stuff up at home. Could be something like that. Maybe I called the cops on myself to let the United States government know that you're hacking people's minds, and they're going to figure that out, right? And that's what all of these unsealed letters of doom are. So when you try to make me the scapegoat later on, I can just go, well, hell, I sent all of this to the Intel community, right? I think what they're trying to do is make me the Q Scapegoat. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't even follow Q. I never read it. I never have anything to do with it. However, when Q comes across my Linux dark web server every now and then, because I have a buddy that follows it real closely, and that's about the only thing I ever look at, and he's a hack, by the way, undeniable. Well, I get this information that pops up, and he's giving me all this Q information, and every now and then I'll just kind of look at it, So it's obvious that you're taking my emails and using those emails in the Q movement. So if you're trying to set me up as the scapegoat for later on, because all I've been doing is giving you intel that crosses my mind, and I sent it to the Intel community with your email addresses all in there, and then your responses and stuff. If somebody, I don't think DOD or the Army's involved in that, but it's making me wonder, okay, so they're trying to set me up as a scapegoat to be the big Q guy, right? So all I got to say later is, give me a fucking break here, man. It's not illegal to send the Intel community intel, and I don't have anything to do with that Q movement, but you're taking the information that's in my emails and you're pumping things out of my emails into the Q movement, right? So yeah, nice try there. Good luck with that. It's not going to work, I can assure you. That's not going to work, all right? That's what these unsealed letters of doom are all about. And I keep really good notes, and y'all have got more to explain than I ever did, right? Especially hacking my mind illegally and torturing me after I figured out your Dan Patrick pay-to-play scheme, which I don't know if it was a pay-to-play scheme or not. Maybe people don't even realize that they were used in a pay-to-play scheme because they're fucking idiots. Maybe they don't realize that. Well, they're not idiots. They just don't have a corrupt mind. I shouldn't call normal people idiots, but I have a mind that's really corrupt. So whenever people do corrupt shit around me, even though I don't ever do corrupt shit, well, my mind, you obviously read my mind, because I never told anybody about that pay-to-play scheme or that Dan Patrick fire and forget missile scheme or pay-to-play or whatever it was right before the media started waterboarding me. I never told anybody about it. I just thought about it, right? And that's all I had to do was have the thought of it, which means you've connected me to some mind hive technology, right, that can read my mind. And I know it can read my mind. I know something here can read my mind because I have indicators on my body, and whenever I'm thinking something, the indicators tell me what side of the pyramid that's coming from, right? Of course, Director X-Ray pointed that out. He called them technical indicators. So maybe it's the FBI who gave me these fucking indicators that'll drive you absolutely insane, by the way, so that I would know who's hacking me. And that's exactly how Director X-Ray put it in his little quote there on the tweet that he put out, because he's paying real close attention to everything that I say, to include the other day when he said, "You're darn tootin'," in front of the Senate after those emails about Putin, and when I poot, what all of that means. So yeah, I called the cops on myself to let the cops know everything that I know. So how is that going to work for a scapegoat? Maybe y'all are just trying to give me street cred so that you can prop me up as like a new leader or something. You wanted me to have street cred by, like Larry Pinkney, the original Black Panthers guy, who's solid, amazing person. Of course, y'all had to arrest him and run him through the ringer so that he would have street cred. I don't know, is that what y'all are trying to do here or what? Because I got plenty of street cred. I didn't need street cred, okay? So whatever it is y'all are up to, I'm obviously better at psychological warfare than all of y'all put together, because I think differently than all of you put together, because a lot of times I don't even have to think. I'm connected to that light in the air, and I got a radio in my brain that y'all hacked. So the light in the air does a lot of the thinking for me, and then I can later tell you what the light in the air meant, right? And usually the light in the air is trying to tell you what's going on. It's not giving you a playbook. Trumping Our Souls wasn't a playbook. That was telling you, hey, you hacked his mind and you made his migraines go away, right? So that's an emergency. Or when you shot up the Trump supporters outside of the big pyramid, that isn't a playbook. That doesn't mean shoot up Trump supporters. That means they're electromagnetically hacking Trump supporters outside of a big pyramid, right there in Las Vegas. Yeah, that's what the light in the air pulls off, right? The light in the air pulls all of that off, and it's a symbol as to what is taking place, not a playbook as to what to do. See how all that works? So, just because I'm connected to the spirit in the sky here doesn't make me a criminal. It makes me a messenger, right? Okay, so yeah. Good luck with your Q Scapegoat bullshit you're going to try to run.